Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. A very warm welcome to the Nerd Diary episode 2. And we are going to talk about entrepreneurship in the age of AI. And this is one topic which is no longer restricted to a selected few. And most of us are thinking about it. And I have invited a very special guest today, Shuchi. Shuchi, welcome to the Nerd Diary. I'm really happy that you are spending your Sunday morning with us in this podcast. So Shuchi is co-founder of GamePy.ai. She's also worked on various leadership positions. I'll let Suchi introduce you, but Suchi, before you start, thank you so much for joining, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Daksh. The pleasure is mine. It's wonderful to be on the Nerd Diary and talking to you. We go back a long way. I started my career working with you, so it's really special, and I am so honored that you asked me. As you said, yes, I am the co-founder of GamePy.ai, and we've been building a product which is sort of working in the space of media and entertainment, especially focused on kids' content. Currently, I'm leading head of solutions engineering at Gracenote, which is in the metadata space in the media and entertainment world. And it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to this podcast.
Thank you, Suchi. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. Entrepreneurship, very interesting word. Now I know you were an entrepreneur by heart since the beginning. How do you see things have changed in last 20 odd years? What is that was there around 15, 20 years back? What is that what is that is there now, and how it is different from when you started your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, I think things have things have changed quite a bit drastically, I would say. Now with the AI platforms, it's really easy to go from an idea to an artifact or a MVP within a few days. That was not the case 15, 20 years back, even 5 years back. You had to really pull in a small engineering team, a product design team, a UX team, depending on what product you're building, to really get to the smallest working prototype of your product, which has completely changed now. And now you can test and pivot and test and sort of get something in front of your potential user or customer, whatever the case is, fairly quickly. So the entry barrier has really uh, gone down considerably. Anybody that has a computer, has a decent amount of knowledge on platforms, could start being an entrepreneur. But I don't think that's the only thing that it takes. There's so much more that needs to go in. But I think the entry barrier, which is why we see so many people testing out things and making prototypes now.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, that's there. But you know, you are starting to do things pretty fast. Is there any disadvantage of that?
Yeah. I think the disadvantage is that, as I said, there's so many people that feel that they are empowered to be an entrepreneur, or at least put on an entrepreneur hat and build something. It has become very noisier. It's become uh, like every second, third person is building their own uh, tool of some sort or their own app of some sort. It's great to give people that kind of flexibility, that kind of power. But to be a true founder, you need to really think of the problem you're trying to solve, who you're trying to solve it, and why are you trying to solve it, and what is the what is it that you bring to the table that others in the industry have not. I think that is a disadvantage now because AI makes you feel like, oh, it's so agreeable that it'll
Mm-hmm.
make you feel like, oh, yeah, you have the greatest idea, and this is the best way of approaching it. It'll be very agreeable. You have to have a sane mind as a founder or as a co-founder to really think your idea through, really understand the why behind it, understand who you're solving the problem for. AI shouldn't AI could help you with it, but it shouldn't be relied 100% because it can hallucinate and give you very false positives.
Yeah, and to add to your point, I will also say that most of the time when you are developing with AI, it doesn't disagrees with you. If you
Exactly.
are starting something, it tells you that, yeah, you are doing the best possible thing. You are creating the best possible $1 million idea, and so on. So, people who want to build something, of course, we all have our inherent biases towards things which we
Correct.
want to build.
Correct.
AI is amplifying that. What
Yeah.
are the safeguards you think we should apply to make sure that we are on a right path? Who can tell us this? If not AI, then whom should we connect to?
Right, right. I think there's still a big aspect of the human intelligence and the domain knowledge that you have to rely on, right? I mean, yes, you can ask AI about domain specific questions, but knowing whatever industry you belong to, knowing who are some of the major industry experts in your field, and really tapping into their insights and understanding where the industry is going, what you're building, how does it solve for not just the coming 1 or 2 years, but the coming 10 years, because you don't solve for the immediate, you solve for long term. That's what an entrepreneur should look at. And also understanding that AI is making it easier for everybody. So how is it that what you're building for today cannot be quickly replicated by a big company or another founder very quickly? So really understanding all of that requires deep level of research. You can have AI assist you in that research, but you need to have the experience of some market leaders, some industry veterans who have really thought through it, who have seen a few cycles of your industry, who understand how it flows, is super important. And just ignoring that and completely relying on AI for everything from research to execution, in my opinion, is going to fall flat, because you'll quickly realize that AI is nothing but uh, just a very intelligent yes man, so to speak.
Right,
And you don't need yes man around you. You need people that will give you honest feedback. And that's why having mentors, having people that have understood the industry, friends, even family members that are brutally honest with you, will keep you grounded and say, yeah, you think that's a brilliant idea. Maybe it is, but there's already so much competition, right? So
right,
things like that you need to.
right. I think it's a very important point that we should talk to the people around, and maybe have some people who are the stakeholders, like even your family, right? They are the biggest stakeholder of anything you do, and ask them, like, whatever we are doing, it's tell me your opinion about it. And I know that family will be brutally honest to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
And
ahead, please.
in some cases, you can also have a small group of potential users or customers or whoever you're trying to solve the problem for, and run that idea by them. I am saying this from my own experience. When we were building GamePy and we were in the early stages, we this was a problem we were trying to solve for parents and kids. And as a parent myself, I have a community of other parents that I connected with. And I said, how much time does your kid spend on content? Are you happy with where they are going? And all of those questions. And we had just 10 parents that quickly validated the problem we are trying to solve, and that they don't have a foolproof solution for it. So something like that is also super helpful, because then you also know that whoever you're building for, at least a small group would love to test out what you're building because they haven't quite solved it themselves.
Right, very good idea. Okay, so um, Suchi, the times are uncertain right now, and lots of news about job market, which is not very encouraging, that are coming around the world. And entrepreneurship is one thing that many of the people are thinking as an option right now. I know it's a good option, but at the same time, statistics is not in the favor of entrepreneurship, if I say so. There will be successes, there will be $1 million successes, but there will be failures too. So if somebody is thinking about this, what's your suggestion to them? Like, yeah, everybody should try it, but of course there can be different results out of that. What is that you want them to think about before jumping into this particular?
That's a great question. And I think it's very important that before you jump into entrepreneurship full time, I mean, it's very exciting at the face value, but It is hard. It is very, very hard. So know that there will be days where you will not see success. There will be months, maybe years, where you will continue to grind and may not see the results you're looking for. So resilience is very important. You need to have that grit and resilience in you. That's one thing. I think the other thing is knowing the why, as I keep saying, like you have to go back to the why. You have to be so passionate about solving that problem that some of these worldly things, like, oh, I'm not getting a fat paycheck, or I'm not getting the kind of return calls that I was expecting, all of those don't distract you from continuing to build and continuing to improvise on whatever product you're building, right? Because as an entrepreneur, it is going to take a decent amount of time, energy, effort, sometimes relationships, because you're spending all your focus and time on one direction. um, and you should be ready for that. So don't just jump into entrepreneurship because you you're out of job and you think that's an easy option. It's by no means an easy option. If anything, it's the harder option, but it has fairly good results if you're successful. And one advice I would like to give budding entrepreneurs, which I realized much late, but my mentor told me this, is to really understand the value of your network, people
Hmm.
that you have worked with, in the industry that you have worked with, um, your mentors, your even your customers, your industry peers, contacts that you have built over the span of 10, 20, 30 years, whatever the span of your career is. Tap into them. And as we discussed, understand what problem you're trying to solve. Does it really need to be solved in the way that you're thinking? And have some courage to get brutal feedback. It's very important to get that honest feedback in the first round and
Right,
continue to get that, because it's that's what's going to keep it real.
right. Do you see any timelines before which somebody should, you know, give up or keep on trying? Because uh, the first question many budding entrepreneurs might ask that, how much corpus should I keep? Uh, like, because they will not get immediate success. They know that, right? So what's the timeline to see, like, 6 month, 1 year, or what are the indications you should at least get in some time frame before you can take a decision of continuing or pivoting? What?
I would say it's hard to say a timeline because it's very different for different people in different industry across different fields. But I would say yes, keep a very good sense of the ground reality. So when you're doing your research before you jump into and call yourself an entrepreneur, again coming back to the why, understand the problem you're trying to solve, who you're trying to solve it for, why are you solving it, what is the moat you bring to the table that somebody else may not be able to do replicate easily. And then keep getting better at the solution that you're trying to build, whatever product. Like you'll build an MVP and start testing it out. Like with AI, it's so easy for us now to test it out on a small set of users, so to speak. And if you're getting consistent feedback that, hey, this doesn't move the needle, if you're getting that feedback over maybe, let's say, 10, 15 iterations of your product, then have a quick reflective talk with yourself and your co founder that, hey, maybe we want to pivot, or maybe this is not solving what we expected it to solve. So that's why I feel like having a set of users or customers that you are solving for close and understanding what their feedback is at every stage. And once you keep getting iterative feedback that, yeah, this is not good enough. And if they give you constructive feedback, that's great. You based on build based on that. But if the consistent feedback after 10, 15 rounds is, yeah, no, we're not going to solve it, we're not going to use it, or we're not going to pay for it, or we're not going to subscribe to it, then you have your answer, and then that's the hard truth, and you'll have to pivot.
Okay, that's a great answer, Suchi. Really, instead of time, you use some iterations to understand whether you are moving on the right direction or not. And I believe, based on my own experience also, like, after a few iterations, even if you do not want to believe it in its face value. Maybe your gut is telling you, already telling you that, okay, maybe whether you have to continue or you have to pivot, or you get a sense out of it. So, right.
Yes, 100%. Your intuition is a strong indicator as well. And sometimes as co-founders, we have such high egos or big egos. We want to
That's
say, no, we went for this big idea, we will build it. And you have to be a bit delusional for sure. Because I mean, Elon Musk, when he said, I'm going to have self-driving cars, people were mocking him. But now today, it's a reality for so many of us. So you have to be a bit delusional, but I think you have to continue to progress. If you're not seeing progress, then you have to figure out how do you
right.
change.
Right. Okay, so as we discussed in the beginning, that AI can help us to build lots of things pretty easily. So, if I am jumping into an entrepreneurship today, should I build a business which is purely based on AI, or should I focus on businesses, traditional businesses, and looking into some of the opportunities to have some kind of differentiation by using the AI?
I think the answer to this really lies within what your core competency is. So if you are an industry expert in a field and you've been in that field for, let's say, 20 years, I'll take my example. I've been in the media and entertainment industry for a good over a decade, close to 2 decades now. Um, so having that kind of domain expertise and then understanding AI to a deep level and using that to enhance an existing business is a great idea, because then you're sort of optimizing and bringing in efficiency. That's one way of doing it. The other way is when you may not have that much of a domain expertise, but you are very good technically and you have a solid understanding of LLMs and AI platforms and how those platforms can be tweaked to build new business, and you have creative ideas. That's another approach. A lot of young entrepreneurs that I'm seeing, especially in Silicon Valley, are people that are fresh out of college. They have great ideas. They want to build brand new businesses. I think those people will definitely build AI enabled businesses because they have not spent that time and energy into really building domain knowledge. On the other hand, people like us, you and I, who have had some domain expertise, could potentially build a traditional business with AI or have a co founder. I wouldn't call myself a complete AI geek. I have decent knowledge, but I would definitely want to have somebody who's really deep into the weeds, and that could help us build AI enabled. So GamePy was an AI enabled business. We had data science team. We had a lot of machine learning that was deployed, so that you could build that with the domain knowledge as well. So it really depends on what you bring to the table and how what business you're trying to build. I think there's opportunities for both.
Yeah, I think you touched the nerve. Like, if you are starting totally new, you can maybe select AI as a, or go to domain and be an expert in that, right? And people like us, we are kind of expert in our own domains. Maybe we can create some differentiating solutions with the help of AI in there. Okay, yeah, that's a good way to go into it. Now, there is one question which, I struggled a lot, and I am sure many of the entrepreneurs are also struggling with, is the idea of sales. So, not everybody is good in sales. I wasn't good in sales earlier. I'm not sure even I'm good today. Okay. But I'm trying to be better in that. But if somebody is starting, let's say somebody is kind of introvert, very intelligent individual working and has a great idea and want to get into entrepreneurship. So one of my mentor told me that sales is everything. Uh, Even before you become ABCXYZ, it's the sales that makes you ABCXYZ. So if somebody is, let's say, not good in sales, but want to get into entrepreneurship, what's the suggestion you have for individuals like those?
Yeah. I think you nailed it. The hard truth is you have to sell. I learned it much later in my career too, but once I learned it, I embraced it, and um, I feel like Sales has had that connotation where people think, oh, you're trying to be pushy and you're trying to sell me something I don't want. On the contrary, sales is really trying to understand the need of somebody, figuring out the solution that you're trying to come by with your product or your service, whatever you're trying to offer, and then making that handshake and saying, okay, you have this need, I have this product, let's do a handshake. That's a sale. And as part of that, you build trust, you build relationships, and that is everything. Whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're working in corporate, I would say in every field, I even tell this to my son, I'm teaching him that um, you have to sell yourself at every stage in life. As a kid in school, if you want to get selected for your volleyball A team, you have to sell yourself. How do you do that? By playing your A game, by being a good team member, by supporting your team members, right? Those are all skills. Again, it's not a traditional sale, but you are selling yourself because you want to achieve the goal of being in your A team. Similarly, if you are in entrepreneurship, you have to understand who you're solving the problem for, what product you're solving it for them, and really get out there, ask them those questions, and help them understand that this is the product for them and build that trust and relationship. So, sales, in my opinion, is such a important skill in life. It's a life skill. Entrepreneurs have to depend on it 100%, but all of us, and the sooner we embrace it, the better it is going to be for us.
Right. So that's something I also learned the hard way. Okay, but you did lots of sales, so did I. Have you ever experienced a scenario where um, you are trying to sell your product and everybody is saying that's amazing, that's good, but the the buyer want to maintain the status quo even after knowing, like, things are good. I
Mm,
don't want to buy it. So I mean to say that they must be thinking about, look, until unless I have some urgent situation, what is the need to buy? And urgent situation may come, may not come,
mm,
right? But if I take a decision of buying your product, then all the responsibility will come to me because I was the one who signed the check.
mm.
So how to deal with this kind of scenario? If you have dealt with, I'm sure you must have. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think this one, I think when you're approaching sales, you have to get into the buyer's shoe and really understand. And by getting into the buyer's shoe, you will understand that, okay, there is that comfort of the status quo. They have something that is already working decently. And rooting that out and sort of uprooting that out is going to take more time, energy, and convincing to the other members of their team. Do they want to do that for sort of supporting your sale? And once you understand that, you have to really create a model of not urgency necessarily to your point, but reasons of why going through all of that effort is worth it. It could be price. So you can say, currently you're paying X. And because I want to get a foot in the door and I want to get my product in your ecosystem and I want you to use it and I want my user feedback, which is also very important, not just the financial aspect of the sale, I will offer you this product at a lower price. Sometimes that is a motivation. Sometimes the motivation is, okay, you do not want to go through the engineering effort to uproot something and build something else. You provide that as an value added service where you say, you buy the product, and as part of the product, I will do all the necessary work to integrate it within your ecosystem. So your teams don't have to touch anything. You just move your budget from this product to my product, and I will do the necessary, right? So there are multiple creative ways of helping them uh, get out of that mindset of status quo. You have to really build that trust and relationship where they're open to sharing with you that, hey, this is my problem. Like, I don't want to spend more money, or I don't want to spend more engineering cycles on it. Or maybe it's like it's the time it will take to integrate your product. If you can find a way to make it easy for them to integrate from whatever aspect it is, whether it's money or time or engineering resources, a lot of times people will want to go ahead because I think a big part of sales is also trust and relationship building. And people want to be working with people that they trust. And if you've become that person, then it's easier.
Yeah, trust, I believe, plays a bigger role. And as you said, as a entrepreneur, we may have to decide what we want, what is the cost of going out of this deal, and then we'll maybe flexible enough to look into some options. Okay, yeah. So coming back to tech industry, Suchis, things are changing very rapidly, right? It doesn't looks like that this AI came 4 years back, right? Back in our days, 4 years experience would be considered pretty junior,
Mm,
right? And but now we are trying to outsource everything to this 4 year experience. Now it's amazing to see the ecosystem grown, like today refrigerators, washing machines, mixer,
everything.
table, everything is sold with some kind of AI in it.
Correct.
So for the people who are in the tech industry, how do you see what's the future looks like, how the working is gonna be? Of course it's gonna be changed, but in which direction?
Mm. I think it is going to change drastically. And what I'm seeing in Silicon Valley after talking to a few other co founder friends is that now we're seeing a shift from platforms to agents. Meaning, for the longest time, we had built systems and platforms for the humans to consume first. So you would
Right.
have a platform where a human would, even if it's an API, a human would actually hit the API and sort of retrieve data or whatever it is that they're trying to do. Now we are moving into this world of agents where agents are going to be interacting with other agents. So platforms will look very differently because they wouldn't need the UX of a website or a platform that a human needed because it doesn't need to be necessarily consumed by a human. You'll have agents working on behalf of humans, doing things using other agents. So a simple example, which is Operator, which is the OpenAI agent that came out in a couple, I think last year sometime. Um, Simple things like your grocery shopping online, which was such a basic task for a lot of us. Like we're going online, we're going to Whole Foods website, we're ordering groceries and putting it in the cart, putting in our wallet, checking out, and having that grocery delivered. Could all be outsourced to agent, where you've just spin up an agent, and one of the tasks of the agent is to take your grocery list and hit, get the grocery ordered. And they don't need the kind of UX that traditionally a human needed. And I'm saying this as a sort of in a futuristic tone because today we still have a huge amount of humans doing most of their work themselves, but the shift is towards agents, and it's going in the uh, at the pace that maybe in the next 3 4 5 years it will become mainstream that everyone will have an agent. As you said, your refrigerators, your washing machines, your devices within the house, you might even have a humanoid, which is what Elon Musk is building, where the humanoid is basically taking over your daily task and talking to your home appliances. And the refrigerator could inform the humanoid that, hey, we're running out of milk and eggs. And the humanoid could order that from whatever your choice of grocery store is, without having any human in the loop necessarily, because it's all done by agents. These are all agents in some shape or form, right? So I would think we will need to start building out uh, a different kind of interface layer, because agents may not need the UX that humans have been. So, and then humans will have to sort of figure out creative ways to really spend their time, because a lot of our chores will get outsourced.
Yes. It's interesting because when agents are using, let's say, shopping on Amazon, agents might not even need a UI.
Correct.
So they can directly, understand our requirement and make a API call, right? There is no UI. So whole front end disappears because I remember some time back I was reading somewhere where I don't remember exactly uh, who said it, but some of the big shot actually said that command line bash is the best thing for agent because agent doesn't need any UI, IDE. It can do everything in the bash. So I said, yeah, okay. So what will happen to front end? Because then our front end will be moved to a dashboard where we'll be managing agents, like something like that, maybe.
I would think so. I mean, maybe we will have some front end to manage our own agents and their productivity and where what their error rates are. And I'm hoping those error rates will go down. But yeah, maybe humans will have their own personalized UX that they can have the agent built for them. Also, they can have a prompt
Yes, that
given
can.
to the agent and say, build me a UX because these are the things that I want to see on my dashboard and things like that. And your AI platform or agent or whoever can build that for you as well. But it could look very different. So Deepak may like, or Daksh may like something very different than Shuchi. Uh, and then we can all have our own custom UX for managing our set of agents. But our agents will talk to each other without needing a UI, in my opinion.
Yeah. So off late, I was experimenting with Hermes agent.
Hmm.
So uh, again, in a secure environment, because I'm still scared of giving every access, all my email and financial access to it. But it just gives me a website, a dashboard, which says that how my agent is working. And it looks like that this is going to be the website I'm going to looking at. In fact, last week, I think Google I/O, they have released that you can do shopping directly from the Google website itself instead of going into Flipkart or Amazon or anywhere else. So that itself, taking the traffic, away from those. So keeping the traffic at Google, and maybe in the future it will look like we'll the traffic will not even be visible. Human traffic will be routed via agents. And okay, so what's the work gonna be for us?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. I'm sure experts out there are figuring out where those guardrails are, right? As you rightly said. Uh, Sometimes you have to also see how independent you want these agents to be, or where is the human checkpoint? Because, we might have seen this in sci fi movies, but you don't want your agents to go rogue and start doing crazy things. Uh, or somebody could hack into your agents and your system and quickly drain away all your privacy and all your personal data. So I think there will be guardrails. I don't think you should and will need agents for everything. Certain transactions, certain things should still require a human consent at the last step. So you are still validating that, yes, I authorize this transaction or whatever, right? But yeah, I also feel like just building that kind of AI infrastructure will require a lot of human resources. We're not ready for that yet, and there's only a handful of AI companies that are obviously looking at it in the futuristic way. But maybe it will change the world that we are in drastically, and I can't even think about it. But our work will change, our worlds will change. Um, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it will be interesting. So coming back to the discussion we had in the beginning, like anybody can create something with AI. So it will not be an exaggeration to say that maybe software creation is becoming a commodity now. So what will be the competitive advantage? How somebody will get it? Because as you said, even if I build something, another big company or another founder can replicate it in few days. Where to get this competitive advantage from, and how to go about it?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question, and one that I keep thinking about too. I think these large language models will still rely on data a whole lot. So if you are sitting on a repository of data for whatever field that you're in, whether it's media and entertainment or healthcare or financial, if you own data as one of your sort of uh, products, so to speak, or one of your uh, it is going to be a moat because that data you have access to, and then these large language models will need to in some shape or form use your data. So there's one moat, because if you have the domain expertise and the data, uh, LLMs will need that data and they will need to license it or sort of buy it from you. So that's one advantage, that's one moat. The other thing I think, which is very uh, touching back on the human aspect of everything, is um, people will still need the trust and relationships between humans to have interaction. So, as an entrepreneur, you have to double down and understand that if you are the co founder or the founder or the CEO, you are the face of your company and you have to go out there and sell to whoever you're trying to sell. And people have to understand what you bring to the table as a person. So your product is one side, your company is one side, but as a person, do they want to interact with you? Do they trust you? I mean, there are theories about some founders out there that people don't trust. I don't want to name them, but they are the obvious ones.
Mhm.
They build the biggest billion-dollar companies, the biggest AI companies, but the face of those companies are people that a large population does not trust. And so we
Right.
have seen a recent shift from one AI platform to the other because one was just going about selling all of your personal data that you were feeding into the chat platform into another platform where you know that your data is going to be kept private and secure and they're not going to manipulate your data and sell it to somebody, right? So those are all those things. I think you have to build that level of trust as an entrepreneur, that people would want to continue to use your system, your platform, your AI tools, whatever it is that you're building, and relationships so people can open doors for you. I mean, I am lucky that I am in a place where if I ask some of my contacts that, hey, I'm looking to get introduced to this XYZ person, they trust me enough and they know that I'm not gonna sort of use their introduction and name in a wrong way. They would open that door. They would have that introduction for me. So I think those are things that are really still important. AI can be used as a facilitator to execute, but you still need these things, and that is going to become your mode. The more trust you have as a company, as an organization, but also as an individual, the more relationships you have. And obviously, if you're sitting on uh, data of some sort that is going to be valuable for LLMs, then you have a moat that you can easily uh, go out and sort of.
Interesting. Um, that actually reinforces that we all should try to protect our data as much as possible, because that gives us the competitive advantage. Then it has to be with us, like in our own private environment. Interesting. Suchi, I wanted to ask you few rapid fire kind of questions now, and I hope it's okay to go ahead with that.
Sure, I'll try my best. I
Sure.
don't know how
So,
rapid it will be, but we'll try.
no, they are easy for you. So, tell me one AI tool or concept every entrepreneur should know and must try.
I think I'll give a very generic answer. I highly rely on Perplexity and Claude for my research and brainstorming, and my prompts to them uh, are very specific, where I tell them to reduce hallucination, only give me feedback that they have validated. So Perplexity has a way of giving you a source link, which is super useful. Claude does the same thing as well. So I rely on those two for a lot of my research and brainstorming and conceptualizing on things, and they've been very helpful. So I would say those two.
Okay, good. So the next is one skill, human skill that will never go out of business.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think just sort of thinking out loud, I would say the ability to ask better questions to understand the problem. Uh, and more often than not, I've seen people fear asking questions, or they're like, "Oh, I will look like a dumb person." But I think having that curiosity and asking the right questions to really understand what the need is going to be your first step as an entrepreneur to really build um, what you want to build, because then you understand that there is a need for it.
Okay. Next question is, what is the biggest opportunity in AI right now?
I think just being able to validate whatever domain that you're in, just being able to validate that your AI product takes care of privacy, security, and sort of gives you a delta of efficiency from a traditional business, for example, is going to be valuable because everyone is moving to AI in every shape or form, right? So just being able to show that delta in terms of efficiency and making sure that they are understanding that this is secure data and a platform that people can trust would probably be a good opportunity. I think there's lots of opportunity in healthcare and financial as well, but this is rapid fire, so I'll keep it to that.
Okay. So, what is the biggest risk in AI right now?
I think the biggest risk with using AI now is the fact that AI is so agreeable. And so it can be misleading. So you have to, as a co-founder or as a founder, as a builder, you really have to put a lot of thought behind what you're trying to build, who you're solving it for. Because if you are not asking those questions to the actual genuine people you're building for, AI can be very quickly misleading you and giving you uh, getting you in the wrong direction very quickly, right? So if you are only asking AI for feedback, I think that's going to be a challenge. So definitely keep having human experts in the loop.
Great answer. The next is maybe a bit controversial, but to what extent people should trust these AI CEOs' statements?
I would say take it with a pinch of salt. They have a job to do. They want to sell their products and platforms, and without naming names, there's enough news about them. Uh, there are some known platforms that have been causing a lot of friction with people all across the world because they are not keeping your data secure and they are going out sort of using your data and manipulating it for needs that you never asked for. So I would say uh, listen to their statements carefully. Don't trust everything they are saying. And also, when I listen to them, I pay attention to some of the things that they say in a very subdued tone about limitations and risks. I think I pay attention to because as a co-founder myself, I want to make sure that I understand what are some of the risks and challenges of using the platforms. And I know when I use those platforms, I understand that that's a risk I'm willing to take. That's my point of view on that.
Great. Uh, Last question. Um, AI will take all the software engineering jobs? Yes or no?
Absolutely not. It will enhance software engineering, where software engineers will not have to do the mundane jobs because AI can be outsourced for that. But the actual thinking and designing part of it, I hope and I know that humans are much more capable and should continue.
Okay. Great. That was end of the rapid fire question.
Great.
Okay, so we have spent close to 45 minutes talking about entrepreneurship in the age of AI, and we are approaching the end of this podcast. And Suchi, any last thoughts you want to share before I end this?
Yeah. No, this was wonderful, Daksh. Thank you for having me. Um, I would just say, as an entrepreneur myself, uh, it's it's a very fulfilling journey, but it takes a lot of resilience and grit and gumption to go through that journey. I haven't even finished my journey. Um, so I am in no shape giving this advice, but I'm sure all the successful entrepreneurs out there will tell you this. Failure is just a stepping stone. So I use that to remind myself every time I failed or I haven't achieved something, I see what I can learn from it and I see that I'm making progress the next time I fail. So none of my two failures look the same. That is my mantra. I fail a lot, but I fail fast and I make sure that I'm not doing the same mistake again. I'm making new mistakes.
Okay. Okay, Suchi, it was really nice talking to you, and thank you so much for taking time out on a Sunday morning. I know it's holiday, and we from Nerd Diary side, we wish you all the best and thank you so much for sharing all the insights. I'm sure it will be useful for the people listening to it either right now or maybe in the future.
Thank you, Daksh, and thank you, Nerd Diary. It was my pleasure. I loved having this conversation. It felt like we're having this conversation after a really long time. And yeah, it was the perfect start to my Sunday morning. So thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward to talk to you again sometime in the future on some other topic of interest. Thank you, Suchi. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Daksh. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.